Can the power of the mind be weaponized? What if it was already happening? In the not-so-distant future, there's a shadow lurking in the corners of international diplomacy, an unseen threat that could change the course of human history. China, a global powerhouse, has embarked on a path that is as audacious as it is alarming. They've developed a clandestine program, one that uses the untapped potential of the human mind as a weapon of mass disruption. This isn't science fiction, it's a terrifying reality. Picture this: children, their minds molded and honed to serve as weapons, trained in the art of remote viewing. These aren't ordinary children. They possess extraordinary psychic abilities, enabling them to see and influence events from afar. Imagine the power, the control, the sheer magnitude of what they could do. But what are the implications of such a program? The potential threats are staggering. Think of the destabilization that could occur, the chaos that could be unleashed. The balance of global power could be tipped in an instant. Nations could crumble, societies could shatter, all without a single shot being fired. And the target of this insidious operation, India. As tensions escalate between these two nations, India uncovers this covert operation. The realization is chilling. They're faced with an imminent threat, one that's unconventional and formidable. It's a game of chess, where the pieces are not just soldiers but children, their minds serving as the ultimate weapon. So what does India do? How does a nation respond to a threat that's invisible yet devastatingly real? They can't just sit back and watch as their sovereignty is threatened, their security breached. They need a strategy, a plan, one that goes beyond conventional warfare. India, faced with an unprecedented threat, had to come up with an equally unprecedented response. The stage is set for a battle unlike any other, a clash of minds, a test of resolve. The question is, who will emerge victorious, and at what cost? When faced with a new form of warfare, India turned to the wisdom of the ancients. In an age where technology and psychic abilities were being weaponized, India chose a different path. They delved deep into their rich heritage, seeking answers in the dusty scrolls of antiquity and the whispered teachings of martial disciplines. It was a journey back in time that held the key to their survival. India's ancient texts, like the art of war, became their guiding light. These texts, written by the greatest strategists and philosophers of their time, offered a wealth of wisdom. They spoke of battles not just fought with swords and shields, but also with the mind. They taught them that the most formidable weapon is not physical prowess, but mental strength. They unearthed techniques that had been passed down through generations. Some of these techniques were so subtle, they were almost invisible, yet they held the power to disrupt, to unbalance, to conquer. The ancient martial disciplines, once considered outdated, became an integral part of their strategy. They were not just about physical combat, they encompassed the art of mental warfare too. These disciplines focused on harnessing the power of the mind, on turning inward for strength. They taught techniques like meditation, which allowed them to calm their minds, to focus, and to see the unseen. Yogic practices, long associated with spiritual well-being, revealed their potential as tools of warfare. They found that by mastering these practices, they could potentially counter the psychic threat. The wisdom of the ancients did not just arm them with knowledge and techniques, it also instilled in them a renewed sense of resolve. They realized that their heritage was not just a thing of the past, but a living, breathing entity. It was their shield against the psychic onslaught, their beacon in the storm. Armed with ancient wisdom and resolve, India prepared to confront this psychic army. The battlefield was set, not just on the physical plane, but also in the realm of consciousness. It was not a battle of armies, but a battle of minds. And India was ready. As China unleashed its psychic operatives, India had to fight a battle on two fronts, the physical and the metaphysical. The psychic soldiers, trained since childhood, were now matured weapons, their minds honed to perfection. They were like invisible invaders, wreaking havoc and chaos across India. From a distance, they influenced events, their psychic abilities stirring up confusion, creating discord, and destabilizing strategic Indian installations. But India was not unprepared. India, the land of ancient wisdom, had its own hidden arsenal. It was not a conventional one, but rather one that delved deep into the human consciousness. They turned to their forgotten arts of warfare, drawing on knowledge and techniques, passed down through generations. India began to counter with ingenious tactics that exploited the weaknesses of the mind. They understood that the mind, like any weapon, has its vulnerabilities. It can be distracted, it can be deceived, and above all, it can be conquered. They used meditation to still their minds, to achieve a level of clarity and focus that was impenetrable to the psychic soldiers. They practiced yogic disciplines, harnessing their own latent psychic abilities, turning the battle into a clash of mental titans. But it wasn't just about individual strength. India also utilized psychological warfare, creating patterns of thought and emotion that disrupted the psychic soldiers' focus. They sowed seeds of doubt, of fear, of confusion, exploiting the very tools the psychic soldiers were trained to use against them. This was no longer just a physical war. This was a battle of the minds, a game of chess played on the infinite board of human consciousness. Each side was trying to outmaneuver the other, to predict and counter each move, to gain the upper hand. And amidst all this, India found its strength not just in its ancient wisdom, but also in its adaptability, its ability to innovate and improvise, to combine the old with the new in a seamless dance of strategy and tactics. The battlefield was set for a confrontation like no other. In this climactic showdown, the mind was the ultimate weapon. India's forces squared off against the psychic soldiers, a confrontation that transcended the physical world and delved into the realm of consciousness. This was a battlefield where the mind was the sword and the shield, the sniper and the bunker, the warrior and the battlefield itself. The strategies India employed were unlike anything seen in modern warfare. They drew upon ancient wisdom, techniques passed down from generations, and combined them with modern ingenuity. Meditation and yogic practices, once reserved for spiritual enlightenment, were now used as tools for mental resilience and fortitude. Psychological warfare, an age-old tactic, was employed with a new twist, exploiting the inherent vulnerabilities of the human mind. India's forces, armed with this unique arsenal, began to dismantle the psychic network that China had so carefully constructed. They infiltrated the psychic soldiers' minds, disrupting their control and shaking the very foundation of their power. Each psychic soldier was an isolated node, their connections severed, their influence diminished. This was a battle of attrition, and India was relentless. The psychic soldiers, trained for remote viewing and mental manipulation, were unprepared for this counter-offensive. They faltered, their defenses crumbling under the onslaught of India's innovative tactics. But the victory did not come easy. There was resistance, there were losses, and there were moments of despair. Yet India's forces pushed on, fueled by the belief in their cause and the trust in their strategies. They knew that this was a battle that could not be won with brute force alone. It was a test of endurance, of resilience, and of the indomitable human spirit. The final blow came not with a bang, but with a silent, decisive strike. China's psychic network was shattered, their control over the psychic soldiers lost. The battlefield fell silent, the psychic soldiers' influence reduced to mere whispers in the wind. India emerged victorious, not just in the physical realm, but also in the realm of consciousness. This was not just a testament to the prowess of India's forces, but a testament to the enduring power of tradition, innovation, and the human spirit in the face of overwhelming odds. In the end, the enduring power of tradition, innovation, and the human spirit prevailed. This tale, set in the not-so-distant future, is one of extraordinary children trained as psychic soldiers, clandestine programs, and an imminent threat of warfare that transcends the traditional battlefield. It is a narrative of two nations, China and India, locked in a mental and physical struggle where the mind becomes the ultimate weapon. China, with its technologically advanced psychic program, had planned to destabilize and conquer India. They unleashed a force of psychic operatives, causing chaos and havoc across the Indian landscape. But it was India's response that truly defined this conflict. Faced with an unconventional enemy, India turned to its ancient wisdom and heritage, delving into the forgotten arts of warfare. Drawing inspiration from texts like The Art of War and traditional martial disciplines, India prepared to face this new foe on a battlefield where the mind reigned supreme. The real triumph lay in the ingenious fusion of tradition and innovation. The ancient practices of meditation and yoga were deployed alongside psychological warfare tactics, exploiting the weaknesses of the mind. India's counteroffensive was a masterstroke, turning the tables on their technologically advanced adversary. The climactic showdown saw India's forces confronting the psychic soldiers on both physical and metaphysical battlegrounds. Through a blend of ancient wisdom and modern ingenuity, India outmaneuvered China's forces, dismantling their psychic network and shattering their control. Victory was not just in the physical realm, but also in the realm of consciousness. The innovative strategies, the resurgence of ancient practices, and the indomitable spirit of the people were the decisive factors in this triumph. This story serves as a testament to the human spirit, showing that even in the face of overwhelming odds, we can find ways to overcome. It is a celebration of the enduring power of tradition, the potency of innovation, and the resilience of the human spirit in the face of adversity.